Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to our hybrid lecture in English prose. Our topic today is about approaches and methods, or specifically about a method of analysis and some examples. Okay, let's begin our discussion today by discussing about a method of analysis and some examples. As you can see in this chapter, we will discuss the practical purpose of showing how the apparatus of linguistic description can be used in analyzing the style of a prose text. So here, I'd like to tell you about the function of the apparatus of linguistic description that can be used in analyzing the style of a prose text. So, what is the apparatus of linguistic description? It will be explained further in the next slide. We follow the terminology and general view of grammar presented in Greenbaum and Quick, a student's grammar of the English language, and many other grammars using a similar framework. So here, when we want to find out the terminology and the general view of grammar, it is very effective to understand the Greenbaum theory or Quick's student's grammar of the English language. And also we presuppose terminology of traditional poetics, specifically about metaphor, metonymy, onomatopoeia, etc. A linguistic account of this phenomena, and for this purpose, it is convenient to refer the reader to Lips, a linguistic guide to English code. So in this slide, I'd like to underline the main concern is about how the method of analysis is used to analyze, to analyze some linguistic apparatus or the apparatus of linguistic description in what we call here determining some examples of the styles of prose text. Like you can see that we have the terminology and general view of grammar presented in Greenbaum and Quick's student grammar of the English language. And also we have the terminology of traditional poetics. It can be compared with the metaphor, metonymy, and onomatopoeia. Linguistic account of this phenomena and the purpose in what we call here referring the Lich, referring the Lich, a linguistic guide to English poetry. So beside that, we have the comparison, or what we call it, the distinction between the terminology and also the terminology of traditional poetics in considering a method of analysis and some examples in the styles of prose text. Well, the second one is about a checklist of linguistic and stylistic categories. Okay, in English prose, we have what we call as the checklist of linguistic and stylistic categories. The categorized or they are placed under four general headings. Okay, the first one is lexical categorized. The second one is grammatical categorized. The third one is figures of speech. And the fourth one is cohesion and context. So lexical categorized, it is about the lexical words. Meanwhile, the second one, grammatical categorized, it is about the grammatical words, okay, or the grammatical meanings. The first one, it could be related with the lexical meaning. The third one, figures of speech, okay, they are related to the figures, what we call it, the appearances of speech. And the fourth one is cohesion and context. Okay, cohesion, it's related to what we call here cohesive devices. Okay, for example, maybe the use of ellipses. Okay, and then the context of the utterance. Well, the third one, we have the lexical categorized, like I said before. In this slide, I'd like to describe it uh, systematically, okay, or in detail. There are five kinds of lexical categories. Okay, the first one is general. It includes vocabulary, formal or colloquial styles. Okay, formal styles that we usually use maybe at school, in the office, okay, in the government. Meanwhile, colloquial styles that we usually use in daily life, at home, okay, maybe um, in the canteen, in the public area, okay, like I said before. And it also includes vocabulary, okay, vocabulary. Um, it depends on your uh, social status. And then the second one, nouns. It includes abstract or concrete nouns and proper or collective nouns. Okay, abstract nouns, maybe. Can you explain about the abstract noun? Do you know what is abstract noun? For example, courage, fear. Okay, those are kinds of abstract noun. Concrete nouns. Concrete. The real nouns. Table. Okay. Chair. Proper noun. Proper noun. Do you know proper noun? Mr. Smith. Friends. Madrid. The name of people. Okay. And then collective noun. Rod. Flock. Team. Group. Okay. You have to understand the basic terms of those things: abstract, concrete, proper, and collective. Okay, it is related to the grammar. And then the third one, adjectives. It includes attributive, predicative, emotive, evaluative. Okay, what is attributive? Do you know attributive, predicative verb? For example, hmm? What is predicative verb? Okay, all students are silent here about the predicative verb. For example, what is the example of predicative verb? The idea sounds interesting. Sounds interesting. Which one is the predicative verb? Predicative adjective. Predicative adjective. Okay, interesting. What about the verb sounds? The idea sounds interesting. Link, link verb or copula. Emotive, emotion. For example, okay, that's your homework. Please find out what is emotive adjective. Evaluative, angry, emotive, evaluative. Okay, please check what is the cluster of evaluative adjective. Okay, and then verbs. It includes static, dynamic, transitive, intransitive. Static, dynamic verb. For example, dynamic, go. Static, stay. Transitive, without or with object. Transitive requires object. Intransitive cannot have an object. For example, transitive, for example, I am looking for my friend. Looking for the plane. Intransitive, take off without object. Take off. And then the fifth one, adverbs, it includes manner. What is the example of adverb of manner? Hello. You are in fourth semester. What is the example of adverb of manner? Before studying about prose, you have to know about the basic first. Adverb of manner, happily, well. What else? Easily. What about adverb of place? By, down, here, near, there, up. Adverb of direction. Okay, please check. Above. Anywhere, behind. Okay. Yeah, okay. Please study it well so that you can understand and memorize it when I ask you again at the other occasion. Next, okay, we have the grammatical categorize. Grammatical categorize cover 9 parts. The first one is sentence types. It includes or they include statements, declarative sentences, or do question, commands, exclamations. Okay. The second one, sentence complexity, simple or complex structures. Which one is simple structure? Which one is complex structures? So please study them well. And then the third one, clause type, dependent clause, relative clause. Okay, which one is dependent? Which one is independent? Which one is defining relative, non-defining, and connective? Okay, you have to know about all of them. And then the fourth one, clause structure, clause element. For example, frequency of object, complements, adverbial, of transitive or intransitive verb construction. The fifth one is noun phrases. Which one is simple noun phrase and which one is complex noun phrase? The sixth one is verb phrases. For example, it includes simple present, simple past. Phrases, they include simple present and simple past. Number 7 or the 7th one, other phrases, other phrase types. They include prepositional phrases, adverb phrases, adjective phrases, etc. The 8th one, word classes, lexical word classes, preposition, conjunction, and pronoun. And the 9th one or the last one, general. It includes comparative or superlative construction. Comparative, maybe it's related to comparative adjective, or in superlative construction are related to superlative adjectives. So please check your grammar book to find out the examples, all of them in grammatical categories. Before understanding or improving your knowledge in English prose. Okay, now we will talk about what figures of speech are. Figure of speech consists of 3 kinds. The first one is grammatical and lexical. It includes formal and structural repetitions, mirror image patterns, rhetorical effects, etc. Formal and structural repetition, you have to construct your grammatical and lexical units by using the formal and structural form. Okay, maybe by using repetition or mirroring image patterns, maybe, or you can add rhetorical effects by making the rhetoric. And the second one is phonological scheme. It includes phonological patterns of rhyme, alliteration, assonance. Okay, please measure your rhyme or span or control your rhyme, alliteration, and assonance. Okay, in figures of speech. And then the third one is tropes. It includes spatial interpretation associated with traditional poetic figures of speech, such as metaphor, metonymy, synecdoche, paradox, and irony. So this is a kind of traditional poetic figures. So maybe you have studied or learned about metaphor, metonymy, synecdoche, paradox, and irony. Okay, they are, okay, they belong to tropes in figures of speech. So when I ask you, what are metaphor, metonymy, synecdoche, paradox, and irony, or what metaphor, metonymy, synecdoche, paradox, and irony belong to? Okay, it or they belong to tropes. Okay, in figures of speech. And then we have cohesion and context. Cohesion means that a text contains logical or other links between sentences. For example, coordinating conjunctions or linking adverbials. Or it tends to rely on implicit connections of meaning. Okay, once again, cohesion is regarded when a text contains logical or other links between sentences. For example, coordinating conjunction or linking adverbials. And then the second one, context means the writer addresses the reader directly or through the words or thoughts of some fictional character. For example, linguistic clues. First person pronouns I, me, my, and mine. The relationship of the addresser, addressee, the outer attitude implied toward his or her subject, if a character's words or thoughts are represented. Direct quotation, direct speech, or by some other method, for example, indirect speech, pre-indirect speech, significant changes of style according to who is supposedly speaking or thinking the words on the page. Okay, contexts are related, okay, with the writer addresses the reader directly, okay, or through the words or thoughts of some fictional characters, okay, like I said before. So in other words, context is regarded as the what we call here the elements, okay, including, okay, the thought of some fictional characters, relationship of the addresser and addressee, okay, and some other method, for example, indirect speech, pre-indirect speech, significant changes of style according to who is supposedly speaking or thinking the words on the page. So context is really important in determining the information that the addresser and addressee want to know. So without context, you cannot determine or understand what the addresser and addressee talk about. Okay, what do they talk about? And cohesion is the other part, or what we call the essential part of determining of combining the context itself, so that there is the implicit connections of meaning. Okay. So as you can see at the end of the presentation or our discussion today, there will be exercise section including 10 questions related to the topic being discussed today. So I think it would be better to make them or to make it as your homework, okay, or your assignment, to what we call it, to check your understanding about our topic today. Okay, so please answer the questions well and correctly, and please submit it last week, maximum before the lecture begin. Okay, I think that's all for today. Is there any question related to the topic of our lecture today? So I will open the session of asking or maybe giving some advices or suggestions. Time is yours. Okay. Is it clear enough for today? And I hope all students, before understanding the topic of today, please study a lot about the terms of grammatical English language, okay, or grammatical English part, okay, or what we call here as the basic grammatical, okay, basic grammatical of English, so that you will be able to check what we call here the deep structure of prose in English. Before understanding it, you can understand the specific features of the topic we discussed today. Okay, do you understand what I have, what I've told you about this one? So please study a lot about English grammar, English grammatical knowledge, so that you can improve your insight, your ability in understanding the topic being discussed today. Without knowing all of them, you cannot achieve your ability in understanding the kinds of linguistic styles, prose style, and about the grammatical categorize, comparative constructions, or maybe what we call here as cohesive or cohesive devices or cohesion. Okay, is it enough? Or Intan or Indri, do you have any question, or you are still in doubt? Or don't hesitate to ask some question related to the topic, or are you still confused about the topic today? So please prepare yourself, and I hope next week, please arrange the team or the group that will present our next topic. Okay, our fifth meeting must be presented the topic from the students group. Okay, I think that's all for today. See you next week. Thank you very much for having me and attending our hybrid class. See you next week. Goodbye.